I came in here particularly because I like the word participatory in front of economics. It's a word which is used all the time, like all words are used all the time, and then words lose their meaning and lose their passion. And I think I'd like to pick up on that word passion. I think anything we do has to be passionate. The word participation comes from a Latin word, particeps, and it's important to understand the words that are used and what they imply. Particeps means sharing. And this is key to, I think, to bringing people together in a society. What is sharing? I mean, it's not just about sharing commodities. It's about sharing who we are. It's about sharing. It's about self-sacrifice, sharing our emotions, not keeping things back. And I think this moves the argument into, dare I say, a sort of an enlightenment and a sort of illumination, enlightenment. I think it's extremely important to take the argument above the clinical scientific arena into I don't want to use the word spiritual because it's a funny word, into if you like, a metaphysical arena, or into an arena which goes beyond the physical, into an emotional arena. And so what I would say, you've done very well, but what you need, if you don't mind me saying, if you don't mind a bit of advice, don't be afraid. It's not easy giving a presentation, but don't be afraid to bring passion and vitality and life into the argument. I know it's not easy standing at the front, but I think when
Am I that bad, by the way?
No, not at all. No. If I was at the front, I would have done the same probably, because I'm sitting here, I'm hiding away here. It's a bit scary, when you're at the front. But I think any argument just needs to be imbued and lifted by emotion so that people can enjoy.
I'll make a comment on that.
Right.
I don't know if you want to say anything. I just want to say something very quickly about the comment on, because I think this is a really important comment actually, on passion and stuff. I think there's kind of two things here. One is actually one of the ways that people feel hope and a sense of like agency or efficacy actually comes through having like a clear vision. So I think that at one level, Paracom kind of helps in that way. In terms of presentation style, it's interesting because, like, from a kind of black perspective, we have a history of extremely passionate, emotive talking, and like you almost kind of will get into that. And I probably am a little bit against that in that I'd rather people think about the actual content of what I say rather than how emotional I can make you. So I know, like Chomsky, he says in his talks, like, I'm not a really good speaker, which I don't know if that's true. It seems quite good to me. But like, if I could, like, use this kind of emotion and G people up, then I wouldn't do it, because I want them to consider the facts and basically the argument that I'm presenting. So I think it's a tricky one. Try and get a balance.
Can I just say one sentence back to you?
Yes.
Somebody said to me the other day, I like my life to be poetry. This lady said, I like my life to be, I think, poetical poetry. And I myself actually have written thousands of poems. And actually, I think this point is really, really important, because, if you present things in a clinical way, okay, but there is when we enjoy something, when we experience a nice feeling, isn't it about a poetry about life? That means that when we talk and deliver our speech or whatever, there has to be something colourful rather than just black and white. There has to be a magical dimension to existence, because there is a magical, I use that word loosely, dimension to existence. And I think when we lose that magic, we've lost all the colours, and we're only left with the ends of the spectrum, black and white.
We have more questions.
That's where the vision comes in, isn't it? It's like if you offer people a vision that makes them think, oh, my life will be so much better, then you know, that's what that's where you find the poetry and you know the interest, the hook.
Well, I'd like to back up and say I think we're emphasising in the documentary where there is a big, you know, argument about this, because, you know, I've you know, heard Michael Albert speak and, you know, listened to him, and it got to me emotionally because of the institutions he was describing and the human liberation. And same with Chomsky, you know, when you hear him speak, some of the things he describes, he doesn't you know, flower it up in, you know, elaborate language, but it's still just what he's saying is emotional. It does have, you know, emotional attachments to it. So, you know, I don't think there's been a big disagreement about you know, whether should we write poems or write textbooks.
You can do both. I mean, that's the point. You can't do everything all at once. You can do both for sure.
Okay, questions about ParSoc?